Magic Johnson was on a podcast. He's on Byron Scott's podcast, and it's that time of the year where people are making their decisions or giving their opinions on who should be winning awards in the NBA. And the hot topic appears to be, even though I think the race is over, is Joker versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Here's Magic Johnson on Byron Scott's podcast.
Best player in basketball right now. And he reads situations and defense as well. His basketball IQ is off the chart.
Yeah.
And then he beats you because he's off rhythm. He's not one of the best yet, but he is up there. And the only thing he can't do like Kareem could do is dominate on both ends. Right. That's what's missing for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's not a big shot blocker.
Right. Defensively, he's a little bit of a liability.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah.
He's the best player in the league.
So that's Magic on Byron Scott's Fast Break podcast. And he puts it into context because he's comparing him to one of the greatest centers, one of the greatest players of all time in Kareem. And no, Jokic is not a shot blocker. But here's a stat that is rarely brought up. And to be honest, when you talk about players, how many MVPs were great defenders, good defenders? When's the last time somebody said, man, that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he can lock you up? I haven't heard it, but I don't think that should factor in. If you're really good, you're an unbelievable scorer. I do believe he's unstoppable. Your team is playing great. He's going to win the MVP. There was a real push for him last year. But here's the thing that is not brought up. A defensive rebound, it's called a defensive rebound. And who is third in the NBA? It's Jokic. So he's third in rebounding and third in defensive rebounding. That's a defensive stat that's rarely brought up. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they quote unquote, they played the passing lanes. That didn't mean they played defense, because you can't play the passing lanes unless you kind of slough off your player. I don't know if SGA is a great defender. Maybe he is. But it feels like we're picking and choosing. And this came up with Joker with Joel Embiid. Yeah, but Joker doesn't play good defense. Defensive rebounds is still a stat, and it's rarely brought up. Larry Bird didn't play defense. I don't know too many people back then who go, yeah, but Larry can't play defense. Okay. Magic couldn't play defense. Kobe played defense because Michael Jordan played defense. I mean, how many MVPs were like Michael Jordan? They could beat you at both ends of the floor. I don't know if Karl Malone was a great defender. I think he was on the first or second team all defensive team. But we do get caught up, and we'll say this about MVPs in baseball. Yeah, but he's not a real good fielder. Okay. So we kind of pick and choose. You can use it against somebody. You can use it for somebody. But and Magic putting it in context there that he's not Kareem. And how many players are Kareem? Jokic is going to be one of the great. He should probably have 4 MVPs and could be on the cusp of a 5th one. I mean, just let that sink in. That doesn't happen. But he is clearly the best player. That doesn't mean he's the most valuable player. And that's why it will go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Jr. III. Yes, Paul.
Jokic currently is the only center in the NBA averaging more than 1.5 steals per game. And the thing about him not blocking shots these days, people don't take it to the lane like they used to. There's not challenges to the basket like you used to. I would bet there's so many fewer chances to block shots in this NBA because everyone's jacking threes that rim protectors might be the least important thing in the league.
Yeah, I mean, you have, the Stifle Tower. That's what he does. He plays, as a rim protector. But his role is overrated because how much of the game is being a rim protector? Wembanyama is the best defensive player in the game. And it's not even close. He can guard you inside, outside. He can stand inside and guard you outside. He's that great. But when it comes to who's the best defensive player, who's won the MVP, I mean, if you run down the list of great defensive players, Akeem Olajuwon was a spectacular defensive player. I think he's the all-time steals leader, maybe? Does that sound right? Or he's up there in that category? Block shots as well? Yes, Marvin?
Yes, block shots.
Yeah. What about steals for Hakeem?
I know John Stockton's first, but I'll take a look.
Yeah. Yeah, Stockton put up numbers that are crazy. Like the assist total, that's almost like Emmitt Smith, his rushing total. It's just going to be there. Yes, Paulie.
Hakeem Olajuwon is 10th all-time in steals in NBA history, and he's the only person over 6'10" in the top 20.
It's amazing.
Stat
He's
of the
underrated.
day,
Oh,
stat
whoa.
of the day,
Oh,
stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Stop.
Brought to you by Panini America. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year for Hakeem Olajuwon. Yes, Seton O'Connor.
Yeah, if you look at Victor Wembanyama, he had, let's see, in 2023-24, he had 254 blocked shots in the season. Yeah. You got to go back in 2015 was Hassan Whiteside. He had 269. You got to go back to Marcus Camby after that. But then there is a massive – the numbers all stay kind of about the same until you go all the way back to the 90s and Dikembe Mutombo. He was putting up like 332, 342, 336, 321. Year after year after year, Mutombo was just killing them. And right before that was Olajuwon.
Not in my house. But Dikembe was one-dimensional. Like, he would rebound and block shots. Yeah. You're asking Joker to play the other end, Wembanyama to play the other end. And I think, look, I love watching Joker, and I think he's the best player in the game by far. But I do understand this meritocracy where the voters will go, we kind of run out of things to say about Joker. How about SGA? Great. And it's a great story. And Oklahoma City has proved to be legitimate. And I hope they do. I don't want this to happen. They don't get to the Western Conference Finals. Because then you'll have people saying, nah, I never should have given the MVP. Yeah, it's the regular season awards. Like Lamar Jackson. I want him to do well in the postseason, so we don't say, yeah, well, he won it in the regular season, just not a postseason performer. Peyton Manning went through this as well. Aaron Rodgers is, 14 minutes in, and I mentioned Aaron Rodgers.
Yikes.
Oh, dang it. I'm bad. Sorry about that. No, I mentioned it earlier when I said we were having Diana Rossini on to talk about the Vikings and their opinion of Aaron Rodgers.